So another day, another evasive Christian here. Okay, so Jack Reverend, Revelation 22:13. Actually, before I get to this, is this showing on my... No, it's not. On the side here, under relevant people, I guess your profile, or I don't know. In relationships, we have the same mindset as Jesus, who, being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own... Now, what the fuck does that mean? Anyway, I'll get to that later. Okay, so the evidence, this is your latest reply. The evidence is there that he exists. The evidence is there that he exists. That's why I believe in that he came and resurrected. Nobody denies that. I guess you're referring to Jesus. And in the case of resurrection, we don't believe that happened, but nobody really denies that in the mythical sense of the story. A lot of atheists point out that if he resurrected, he never died, which you guys ignore anyway. So, but that's not really the point here. God said marry before sex, so it's your choice. So it's your you choose. God said marry before sex, so it's you choose wisely. Okay. So I ask this before I move on here. Did I ask you why you believe or about marriage? So did I ask you why you believe, or did I ask about marriage? Now going back here, and I like this better than Getter because you don't have to click on every fucking reply to get to the next before it. So we'll go all the way back here. Yeah, okay, so I asked him why is saving required if God is good and benevolent. Why do you approve of this, quote, salvation concept? So you and your fucking ignorance, willful ignorance, and your disingenuousness replied, because God made us in his image. Now, looking at that first, because God made us in his image, I don't even know exactly what that means. You guys never really explained that shit. Does that only mean that God made us to look like him, exactly like him? Meaning that God looks like a human being. But with that said, what does that have to do with what does God being in the human image have to do with getting saved? And also, how does that make him good and benevolent? What does God being in the human image have to do with salvation? We got free will limited by nature. Okay. What does that have to do with being good and benevolent? Would a good and benevolent God do anything to us if we don't get saved? I mean, what if we... what? Would he create a situation that required us to be saved if he's good and benevolent? Telling me that we got free will limited by nature does not answer that question. Salvation is God's work. Okay, you're doing all these apologetics instead of answering my question. You know damn well that what I'm trying to ask here. If you don't, you're fucking stupid. Why is saving required if God is good and benevolent? And why do you approve this? Okay, so saying that, how does your statement that salvation is God's work a valid reason to approve of the concept of salvation? At the same time, our motives, desires, and actions are voluntary, and we are rightly held. Why do you... Why would God create such a situation that requires salvation and being saved if he's good and benevolent? In fact, why does he even have to be good and benevolent if he's... Well, I should have asked that. Well, I don't know. A man reaps what he sows. So I've already broken that down. Now moving on here. None of this answers my questions. This is just preaching. I'm surprised you don't bore me with a Bible quote yeah, so. If you were looking for answers, you're not going to get them with an... Well, what the fuck was this then? You say this, but then you say this. What the fuck, Jack? That's aside from the point that none of this answers my fucking questions here. If you read the Bible and study it and watch debates, you'll learn and start understanding it. I want your answers. This is psychological. I'm not... They're never really... Aside from that, there never are actual debates. It's only you guys preaching. You mean those, quote, debates where the non-religious person, usually an atheist, either states facts or asks a question about biblical facts only for the Christian opponent to say what he wants because he knows the Bible is shit and that he's morally wrong to believe in it? Yeah, I don't value those because, as you're demonstrating here, you're evading my questions while the root of religious beliefs are psychological, if not doctrinal, and not factual. You want Christianity to be true and you want to live by it. You also want others to live by it for some fucking reason. You can't grasp God's power. Okay, God has power, so what the fuck? That doesn't mean that. Nor is... Okay, you can't grasp God's power nor his ways of doing things. Okay, how is God's power good and benevolent, and how are his ways of doing things good and benevolent if it requires us getting saved and getting salvation? Or God providing salvation, however that works. There is no valid answer. No good and powerful creator of all existence would create a circumstance for his yeah. How would you expect God to save you? So you're evading the question again. No good and powerful creator of all existence would create a circumstance. Yeah, you're just ignoring what I said there. I don't expect God to save anyone. Why do you? Why does anyone need to be saved if God is powerful, good and benevolent and all that shit? Why would he need to be good and why would he need to be anything if he's all powerful and such? You're making excuses for him. Just apologetics here or whatever. If you don't even believe in him and his... Why do you believe in him? Okay, save me from the problem he created because he wants worship and obedience. Why do you believe in him and want him to... Yeah, another question you don't answer. The evidence is there that he exists. Which leads... Yeah. What the fuck? So start answering some fucking questions, Jack, and stop tap dancing around shit. Stop preaching and fucking evading. Stop answering questions I didn't ask.